All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Madcore Hunter podcast. I got Danny back with me. Kind of went off and had the race and took a week off, this and that, and glad to have you back on here, man. How's everything been going?
Pretty good. It's been a long couple of months. I think I'm on, over 2 months now straight of work. So, yeah, we're still working on getting replacement for one of the guys up here that left and stuff. And I've took care of filling in most most of the time here. I flew home twice in this period, but I flew home on like Wednesday evening was off technically one day then, and Friday looked at some skids that were getting sent up here for work, and then flew back on Saturday, and I flew home for Janelle's birthday. But I flew home Thursday night kind of after work and worked from home on Friday and then flew back Saturday. So it's been pretty crazy, and I'm hoping to go home around the 23rd of May. We'll
Oh,
see what
good,
happens.
man. Gosh, that's tough, but
Yeah,
one
and it's
thing, hunting's not cheap, so have some money for this fall.
definitely a chance to get money to just it's one thing to be gone for a couple weeks. It seems like the list piles up of stuff that's got to be taken care of at home. But when I start doing these stints like this, any little thing that you think you can push off for a couple weeks now is kind of a big deal. So, been dealing with that and trying to get some help with the hay and things like that. So, it's just been long, but it's been pretty good. And I think Janelle's going to get to come up here in a couple weeks.
Good. That's good, man. Yeah, probably summer break is coming up, but right on. I guess any evenings have you had time to? Guess we're kind of past shed hunting, like any fishing or just time to do much after work since you're up in North Dakota?
Really, we've been so busy that I just basically just been wore out. So I haven't really done hardly anything. Been to a few banquets. That's been kind of fun. Spent some money, but also have done really well and helped support. Went to Ducks Unlimited here a few weeks back, and that one was kind of crazy. We ended up, me and Zach ended up with the two big prizes out of that event,
Ooh, what were
or
the
two of the
prizes?
three big prizes. So that was pretty cool. They gave away a hot tub, dude, and I bought one ticket for it. And so I've got a hot tub sitting on the porch here waiting until I can go home. That was crazy. Not something you see at these events, but somebody donated a hot tub. And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was. It was something unique. And there was a safe that everybody was trying to win, and Zach won that safe. We had
Really?
a
Pretty
heck
nice
of a
save.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was, nothing too crazy. It was one of the brands that Tractor Supply carry, but that was pretty fun night. Those like
Yeah.
we went there with just me and him. We've been to enough that we know a lot of people that go to them, but not like buddy buddy. But there was some three random guys that were there, and they were really getting into it, and so our table was pretty loud. A bunch spending some money and bought some auction stuff there, and had a pretty good time. And we just went to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, their big banquet. And so Williston, which we've been going, I don't know, 12, 14 years, I think up here, Zach's probably been going. And the banquet in Williston, believe it or not, is in the top 10 of money makers in the country for the Rocky
Really?
Mountain Elk Foundation banquets. And so it's a pretty big deal. They gave away a state. This is a raffle I've been getting in since I knew about it, is they give away a state elk tag for North Dakota. And it's a pretty premium deal. Like I've heard people talk about, I think the auction went, in the 30s to 50 when they auctioned one off a few years ago. And there's some really good elk hunting here. Very hard to draw. Non-residents can't apply. So that's like the only chance we would have to draw a tag is to get into that raffle. And they only sell 1,000 tickets. So the odds are not terrible, actually, for a premier elk tag, because you're probably going to shoot a 350 bull if you put the time in.
Yeah.
Like the guy I know that killed an elk up here last year, I think it was 78,
Gosh,
killed a
dude.
big giant bull up here. And like they had two racks in there. I don't know if they were both from 25. One of them was the elk that that somebody drew the tag at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet. And I mean, both those bulls, one of them, I don't know if he was a 6x6, probably in the 340s. The other one was a true 7x7 with identical sevenths matching. It was like after the third, the sword time, there was an extra point that kicked off on both sides. And I figured he was definitely in the over 350. Nice, really
Man,
nice bulls. They're beautiful bulls up here, real dark chocolate horn.
who ended up
So
getting that? Just anybody you knew or
nobody there at the event, but it was kind of cool. They announced his name, and I don't remember what part of the state. I couldn't quite hear the announcer, but they called the dude on the cell phone, and had it on the microphone, for everybody that was in there. So that was kind of cool.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've
Right
been
on.
there. I think I was at one where the person was there that drew. They were actually sitting at our table, so
Yeah,
that was kind of crazy.
that
But
would be cool.
yeah, yeah, it's a pretty premier tag. Like that family that won that time, they had video of. I don't think he'd won the tag. I think he drew it the year before, but they had definitely hunted elk a few times with different members of the family that had drew in the state. And I watched a video of a guy shooting a bull that was like 350 on a cell phone. So there's giants here. It's pretty amazing because I know a lot of people that have killed elk here have killed in that 350 range.
Did you put in for Kentucky?
I did.
Oh, okay. I think that's here in a couple weekends. It's down in Bardstown. And actually, I go through there for work. So I always wanted to stop by that. But I think in the past, it's been during turkey season. So it might be this coming weekend because Kentucky and Indiana both close out this coming weekend. I don't know
Yeah, I was trying to
because
get
they like
close.
announce the winners like live at the event. It's like, I heard it's a pretty neat, cool
It's
event.
a
It's actually close enough for me to go to.
You ought to go because it's a huge event and they got some giant raffles there where you can win some other hunts and stuff like that too if you get into them.
Yeah.
I usually buy a few raffle tickets for that stuff too, but I was kind of looking through here. I've got Hunting Full up, and they usually tell you that, but I think Kentucky's maybe next weekend. I want to say that it is like the 9th or 10th.
I think it is, or they pushed it back. Then we find out about Colorado. I think it's the end of this month or beginning of June. So that'd be nice. Which I guess it'd be my luck that we draw both, but I wouldn't give up either one because that'd be both good areas. So we
Where
would just
else
have
did
to
you put in for?
in Colorado, and then if somehow we got Kentucky, that'd be pretty cool. Kentucky and
Yeah,
Colorado. I don't know.
yeah.
I would just all the vacation towards elk hunting.
Because you didn't apply in Wyoming this year, right?
Nah, we didn't have enough points. No, I didn't feel like dealing with it. I decided to go Colorado this time. Well, we'll see. Yeah, I would like to go to that event, so I might. You didn't put any for anything crazy besides Kentucky and just Wyoming, right?
Would have put in I've already put in for deer, for archery up here in North Dakota, and then, did the Kentucky tags. There's an Oklahoma elk tag I put in. I don't know how long I'm gonna continue to do that, Dave. When I put in originally, it didn't cost much money, and now you gotta buy a license there, and they're not cheap. So but I mean, I kinda look at it like if you were to get online and purchase a few, like I did for North Dakota, if you purchase a couple tickets for a raffle for an elk tag, it's kind of the same. That's the way I'm
Yeah,
looking at it. I'm buying a license that I'm not using, so it's just a donation to the state, basically. But
yeah,
I've got quite a bit of points there. I'm not real familiar with their point system, but they do some of it's based on points, and then they still got 10 or 15% that are drew randomly.
yeah,
And I mean, I went there. It was a pretty fun hunt, and a chance at, killing over a 300 bull pretty easily. So in that 300 range, I guess you would say. They're not giant there, but my buddy Michael Simpson was there. I went down when he had that tag and he killed a bull a little over 300 there. And I packed out 3 or 4 helping other people. And, there were some nice bulls killed there.
yeah.
And then
Right on,
just
man.
Wyoming tags. I mean, I haven't even put in for elk there, but spent a bunch of money as a resident in that state. Put my wife in for buffalo and elk and bighorn sheep, and then I put myself in or in moose, I guess, for her too. She's getting close. Janelle's going to draw moose here in the next couple years.
Be cool.
Yeah. And then heck, I'm starting to build up quite a bit of points on moose again. So I I would hope to draw that. It's going to be a little bit, but um, I put in for the tag every year. A lot of people won't do it, like you were saying. You wouldn't put in for Wyoming. There's still random draws, so I do put in for all these tags for just the chance.
Yeah, well, you live out there, you know what I mean? For
Yep.
me, like, if I start doing all that and somehow it all clicks, then I would essentially maybe waste a tag, so that makes sense for you.
It wouldn't be wasted tag if you just like, hey, I'm not coming back to work till these tags are filled.
Yeah, that's true.
I pretty much did that the year I had sheep tagging. Like I think I hunted a little over 3 weeks straight when I had sheep, and then went back to work for about a week and a half and went back to the mountains. That one, that's where I dock time like this is just in case something happens and I got to get somebody to fill in for a little while.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, they owe you a little bit, it's a good
Yeah.
idea. Has anybody been turkey hunting? Like, any turkey hunting stories or anybody within the group? I haven't
Uh,
seen our kinda group chat fire up, it's been a pretty tough year from what I'm hearing.
Everything's been slow. I mean, deer season was slow, like for our group. Not There wasn't a ton of deer killed. I mean, there was a few, but just it was slower than it had been, I think, for the last couple of years. And then like we got into turkey, and I know um, I haven't heard anything. Obendorf has been taking his oldest boy. Corbin took him during the youth season, but Illinois, I don't understand it all exactly, but they have to buy like different areas. So like he has a turkey tag, but it's only good for certain. Like you have to put in for a county or something there, so
It's
he's not
like
able to
per
hunt.
season and per county. It's
Yeah, he's not able
Illinois.
to hunt all the places that they have and have permission. He's got to have different tags, so it's kind of screwed them a little bit. They got really close one day. I know they called in a hen, I think, the first time, and it come right by the blind, and then they had two toms, but I mean, he's I think it's 7, and got him a 410. Been shooting that, and uh, toms came by, just didn't get to get we weren't able to move around and get the dang shooting sticks all situated because the birds just kind of come by in a hurry in front of the blind, but it was almost, I know. So, and I think he's took his daughter out too. So, sound like they had a good time, but I don't think they got anything close. But that's about all I've heard. And I didn't even. You sent me a picture right before this podcast. I didn't even know you'd killed a bird until I listened to your about your race. I heard you slightly mention it on that podcast there.
Well, I was gonna kinda save it, and I thought I sent it to you. I don't know, I didn't even send it in the group. It's been a tough year, man. For one, we missed opening weekend for Kentucky because of the race. I knew that, but that was a sacrifice willing to take, but, um, I've not gone as hard. I've taken a buddy a time or 2 trying to get him his first bird. Me and dad have gone to Kentucky a couple times. We went the past 2 mornings. We're recording this on the weekend, and this is like one of our better spots, like between Indiana and Kentucky. Like this is a really good spot. A couple weeks, the weekend prior on a Sunday, we didn't have a lot of time. But we had 4 gobblers within 100, 150 yards. So they're there. Last 2 mornings, man, nothing close. It like got cold, and maybe it's just our spot, but like it turned them off. Heard some gobbles, but you would just think they'd be fired up, hitting the fields, even driving around. I don't think it really helped. Other people might have experienced something different. Hopefully they did.
Did
We didn't.
Did you think it hit a little earlier this year, or just like it seemed like youth season did well? That's some of the I just realized one of my good buddies back there, Matthew Sweeney, his boy Zachary Sweeney killed his second bird. He killed his first one last year, and he killed a bird on their farm during youth. think I seen some other people that I know from back there. I think Cumberworth, some of their boys killed, and then Brian Miller, some of their kids killed turkeys. Or I think it was either Miller or Lauber. I saw some pictures of some birds, so it looked like youth season was pretty good from Indiana there.
Yeah, I know that guys were disappointed Kentucky pushed it back. So Kentucky is usually open 2 weekends prior to Indiana opening that Wednesday. So that's another reason Kentucky was always nice. Like we'd have 2 full weekends over there before you could even step foot in Indiana. But
Yeah,
I missed, so yeah, usually we get hunting in a little bit earlier, which does seem like it's better. So that is the thing. Seems like as turkey season goes on, it can get tougher no matter how good your spots are. They've been called to, shot at. Numbers are down. I know Kentucky, that's the reason they did push the season back, or I don't know if they just pushed it back or just kind of cut it a week short. I think they just pushed it back, but
I know. Like here in or there in Wyoming, like I'm not even going to get the opportunity. I don't think. I doubt that I'm going to actually get home before season's over. There, I was seeing birds before. Both times I've been home, I've heard a few gobbles and seen a few strutters there around my property, and then I've seen a few people I know. North Dakota's not got a ton of birds. They're in places. I mean, obviously where there's trees and creek bottoms, there's a lot of turkeys. But I've definitely seen a lot of birds strutting. I mean, for the last month here, and I was asking Zach, I think a day or two ago, if he'd seen. We'd both had kind of drove the same direction there the other day, and I had noticed a tom with 3 or 4 hens out in the field here close to Williston.
yeah, at the house, we have another kind of like lease property and this and that. General consensus is the numbers are down. There's definitely pockets, and some people are like, oh, I've got 5 strutters on camera. I would say across the board we have good spots, but numbers are down. So that
Is it?
kind of has put a damper on things too. And dad did get Papal one, which was nice. He hadn't been able to the past couple years with surgeries and then this and that, and it was really good. So shout out to him for getting one, and we got a red dot on there and such, and it all worked out good because he wears glasses and with the blind, and even me and my buddy put a blind up. I was having a hard time seeing through that mesh. If that sun hits it just right, really really happy that he got one. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. Is the bird numbers, is that from shooting too many birds or predation? What?
I just think it's all the above. We don't have the coon hunters that we used to. Nobody's trapping between possums, coons, bobcats, snakes. It was a hard winter. I killed a pretty good bird. I know just by looking at spur length, beard length, and the fan. I sent you the picture. That's for sure at least a 3-year-old bird. That bird weighed 20 pounds.
Yeah,
Usually you get 3-year-old bird, he's at least 23, 24. So I think, and I don't know if he was the dominant. There was 2 of them, but he definitely should have weighed more than that. So I think just a tough winter. And these birds, it's a really good spot, but there's no ag around either. So they're kind of like hayfield holler type birds, but they're a lot of fun to hunt. Like it's a
yeah,
good spot. So that could be another thing, but tough winter and just nest robbers is what I think.
yeah. It seems like, I mean, I don't see the times that I'm in Illinois, like there's there's not it's not like Indiana was when I was growing up. Seemed like there was turkeys everywhere when I was
No,
first when I first hunted them in Illinois over there. Just I haven't been there in the spring. I think Michael usually gets a bird, every year, but I know that he's been trying to make sure that they're surviving on his farm there because there just wasn't many birds when he moved in. You know, I never have seen very many in 3 different counties that I've hunted in Illinois. I have seen very few birds.
man, I know at the house, food plots and, within the legal limits, try to, feed, in the colder months and this and that. And cameras were just not good at the house. I think there was a couple, they weren't very big, even, like 3 or 4 years ago, we had 5 strutters back there, almost. not a for sure thing, but you were going to have birds, in the food plots, and you could really see how that land management was paying off. And not this year. I don't know. It's an off year. I don't know if it's a tough winter on top of all the predators and nest robbers, but I think, you'll have people say they've had a good year, but general consensus is numbers are down. But nonetheless, I was blessed and fortunate enough to get one in Indiana. And then, been trying to get a buddy one, and I like to go to Kentucky. Usually me and dad go over there. It's kind of a team effort. So still got one more weekend and maybe an evening or two if I want to, but it's all fun, man. You don't have to get one every time.
I haven't got to hunt for, I don't even know exactly. I haven't even shot one in my house for a while.
Yeah.
It just seems like that's a May, April time frame is just usually pretty busy for me and hard to get the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I love spring, man. It's so great to get out there and listen to the birds sing and just hear a gobble. I just haven't even worked a lot of birds. A couple mornings they haven't even gobbled on the roost very good. It's just a different type of year. Not complaining.
I've been itching to get out and do something, but just working this much, it's just wore out, It's hard to get that motivation to drive all day. So after you get back to the house and it's late in the evening, by the time you eat, it's like I don't want to go drive, half hour each way just to get somewhere where I can get out and take a walk, in the woods. I
Yeah,
was thinking about going fishing and get warmed up a little bit and got the boat kind of ready. And then, we had 30-mile-an-hour winds, so I couldn't even get out that time. So it just timing just haven't worked. But I will say, yeah, I got a story here, I guess. So paddle fishing started on May 1st here, and
okay,
they tore them up. I think they checked in like the 370 range on opening day of them. I think they have a limit. I haven't looked to see what it is this year, but they do. It's about 1,000, and then they'll cut the season off if that happens like in a week or so, because it's only like about a 2-week season. They'll open it up for like a catch and release kind of thing. But I know that they were already over 500 in 2 days just in this area,
gosh,
and I mean it's a small stretch.
are you gonna
So
get out like you did last year?
man, that's a part of this story that kind of sucked. Is I ordered, like, I could have bought my tag here in Williston, but I was like, I got online about 10 days before season started, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just send it up. I'll send it to the house here in Williston. That way I didn't have to try to hit Game and Fish while they're open, And it got to be like the day or so before May 1st, and I was like, went down to the mailbox, nothing's here. I finally called Janelle, and I was like, "Is there something in the mail from North Dakota?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, it's got one of those paddlefish things on it." I was like, "Gosh dang it, man." So
Man,
I hope to get the tag tomorrow. So I'm already a little late, but I think me and Zach will probably get out a few times during the week here just to mess around. It it's fun to catch them. The fishing for it kind of sucks, because I mean it ain't fishing. You're just trying to snag this thing across the river.
yeah,
But the buddy that kind of got me into it, Stormy, he he's had a heck of a season. All right, I hit him up opening day and he wasn't out, but I think his wife had went. And the next morning I text him or he texted me, sent me a video, and it was him. He had one hooked, okay? And the thing got hung up out in the river. He jumped in the river and tried to go get it out of there. And I mean, it's May in North Dakota. Like, I don't know what that water temperature is, but
yeah.
it's
You
not
better be
very warm.
careful. No, yeah,
Yeah. He got in there for a while, and then another guy hooked up around him. So I, I think he had to cut the line because he couldn't get the fish up from under the shelf or log it was stuck in. So he lost that one, but he sends me a picture later, and I think 91 pounds. He caught another one that
gosh,
day
dude,
and got it in. So he was pretty stoked. And
is that is that's a
he's
big
good
one,
at
right?
it. Huh?
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. Like the biggest that I've seen, unless I haven't seen the numbers from today, but I think 118 was the largest one that had been caught this year. The state record's like, I think just over 130, 131,
Okay,
or It's in that 128 to 132 range, I believe, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
But the one I've only caught one. I've only ever had one on the line, and I think mine was 81 or 82 pounds, something like that.
it's a good one.
And so I want to see Zach get one. He hadn't hooked one. We've caught a few carp, hooked into carp doing a big 15, 20 pound carp, but never the paddlefish. But I need to get Stormy on sometime because I don't know what it is. Because you would think throwing a line out and hooking a fish, there's not much to it. But I know a handful of guys, and Stormy's one of them. Dude catches them every year.
He
And
must have a good spot. It's probably he just has a pinch point or something.
well, I mean, he just knows, but like all the people that I know fish the same spot that he does,
Okay.
and they don't catch a fish. So it's 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 very interesting that like he went out there and there had been people fishing that spot for 2 days, and I think I heard a guy in the background like giving him a hard time, a buddy, because he'd only been there for 5 minutes and he hooked into that first fish,
Gosh.
And he's hooked up when I was there, I think, before, and he was supposed to have been there. He was kind of telling me how to do it when I started that first year, and he was supposed to be there, and something come up with the kids, and he couldn't go that night. And I'm with another buddy of his, or buddy of ours that was down there at the fishing, and I'd heard stories of them all fishing together. That was Mathoni. When I hooked in my fish, I was like, well, now what? Like I had no idea how to get these things in besides just catching a fish, but they're gigantic. And Mathoni he's like, oh, I never caught one. I was like, you haven't been here when they hooked one? He's like, no, I just been down here when they hadn't caught anything. So we ended up
Gosh.
on FaceTime with that Stormy trying to figure out how to get the dang thing in. So that was quite the event when I caught mine.
They're neat, man, because we saw them close up because, it's I get we have them down here, but it's not like where you're at. We were
Yeah,
cleaning
if
a job out, like a reservoir, and they wanted to get the fish out. This owner did such and saw them pretty, neat close, and they're neat, man. They're prehistoric looking.
they are, if you search, I think it's Dakota Skulls, does a lot on like Facebook posts right now because this is one of the major hubs for doing paddlefish. And it's weird because these things are coming up the river. So the season's only about a 2-week period while they're going through here. There's just thousands and thousands of these fish swimming upriver. And see, Montana, I don't know the exact date, but it probably starts around the 15th of May because the fish have moved through the Wyoming section that you can fish for them, and then they move into Montana. And I'm sure everybody, like if you watch Randy Newberg, his show at all, they've got a couple YouTube series of paddle fishing in Montana. So it's a good place to learn a little bit about it. But I guess there's some big names. I heard that there was like a TV personality in Wilson the other day trying to catch on.
What's the best state for it?
I don't know. This place is really known for it here,
Okay,
and
so maybe there.
Montana. I mean, I don't know where all you can do it. There's some places I know in Oklahoma. I want to say I think there's multiple lakes, but I know they're in Grand Lake down there, and that's different because it is still snagging, but those guys actually can fish from a boat, and they live scope them and hook them.
Okay,
So
yeah,
like it's a big deal, but they got 120, 130 pounders in that state also. Here it's a river system that they're all just going through, and here they won't let you can't fish from a boat. You can't catch them from a boat. You can take a boat down the river, but you have to beach it, and you have to be standing on dry dirt
okay,
to hook them and reel them in. You can't even hook them and jump in the boat and try to get them out in the river. You got to get them to the bank. And there's all kinds of stuff because it's like the week is split up on days that is actual keep. You have to. So it doesn't matter if you catch it. Like I saw one was 18 pounds was the smallest one. You have to keep it if you catch it and get it in. You have to
that's your
keep
tag.
whatever on a catch
Yeah.
day. If it's a release day, you have to immediately turn anything back. Like you can't
Okay.
wait. You wouldn't get time to weigh it most likely, or anything. Cause Chris Copain, who's my relief, the guy that's here when I'm not, or when I'm off 2 or 3 years ago, he caught one that probably would have pushed close to within 10 pounds or so of the state record. They didn't really get to weigh it, but fish as big as he is, and it was quite a bit longer than the one I caught and stuff. So it was a giant. In the picture, took two of them, hold it up kind of thing.
Well, at least you got the picture. That's
Yeah.
cool. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be neat. That's something I wouldn't mind doing. I wouldn't mind doing that or maybe watching this new show. There's fly fishing. Mind fly fishing. There's just not really much around here.
Yeah. Your buddy from Colorado is going to get you doing that, isn't he?
No, yeah, he fly fishes, but we were watching this show, Alan. It's called the Madison Man, and
Oh,
it's like,
really?
it intrigued me, but I'm not a fisherman, really. I mean, I'm an outdoorsman, like I'll do it, but I'm not a fisherman.
Yeah. I've been looking at all the, just the expenses that, let alone hunting, but like having a boat. My boat's 10 years old. So that's all the electronics on a boat, they age out. So I've been looking at that, and that's just a huge amount of money to upgrade all my electronics. So
Yeah, I'm not
debating
going
on
down that.
that.
Not going down. I mean, here's the thing, like when I'm catching fish, I like to fish. I don't think I'm a bad fisherman. I just don't really have I guess the pure passion when I'm not catching fish and to like commit like buying a boat and like all the tackle and this and that. Like I'm probably hooked more on Iron Man at this point than I am fishing.
Everybody's got their, the things that they like to do, because I keep telling myself that I'm trying to narrow it down a little bit, but
Yeah.
like trying not to go to those banquets, but I have fun. And when you're working 2 months in a row, it's the only chance I get to go do something outdoor related, and
Oh
have
yeah.
fun at it.
You got to do stuff like that, man. You got to have
I did
fun.
get out and shoot when at daylight to try to beat anybody going there on a nice day, and went and shot locally on some public ground, a public gun range on some public ground. And that was kind of fun. Checked a couple gun. Got six that I was trying to get squared away that I really want to hunt with. That was the one I took and had some issues with during antelope season, and got that thing squared away again. And I don't know what had happened with the scope on that one, but shooting tacks now. So that's
Right
pretty
on.
cool.
Yeah. Speaking of tack, I don't think I'm going to get to, I might hit one up later in the year, but didn't get to go to Indiana. And then I don't know. It's just, we got a lot going on this summer, man. And I don't know. It seems like the tax, there's just a lot of people doing it. It's fun, but it's, like I said the last year, it seemed like there was a lot of waiting in between targets. And I was like, man, at some point, so it's like that theme park feeling. It's like you wait all this time for this just short little shot, like you can't get in a rhythm. Probably just that was just that one example. I've shot several of them. They're a good time, but I don't
Do
know.
you
I
ever
do a
do
couple
you
more
ever still
races,
go to
but
the local D stuff? Is still
yeah, we'll
pretty
do
big
some
around
local.
there?
Yeah, it'll start up probably actually this month. Usually right after turkey season, they start having some. So yeah, we'll hit a couple of those up. I know the one that's pretty close. Like the people that were doing it were competitive shots, and like they were setting it up really good, and then they left, and then it went back to just not. I don't know. Wouldn't say not very good, but it wasn't. It's like the shots were almost too close. It was just like have a little bit of challenge, you know what I mean? Like 100, like it's like everything was like 25 yards, like especially when you use
Really?
the tax, like at least kind of bridge the gap. And, they have different classes, but it seemed like even the higher up classes just, I don't
It's
know.
kind of it's kind of funny to hear that to me, because like when I was a kid and we were shooting 3D like every weekend, complaint was them pushing them out too far.
It was just the opposite
Because
this
the
past year.
reason back then, was tearing up the target. But I mean, there wasn't people hunting and shooting over 40 yards at all when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But I know that's different now. But it is funny to think how much that's changed, that now you're complaining about it being close.
Well, not even that. It's just like some places they'll do like a hunter's challenge and like you have to shoot between the, forks of a tree or something like that, kind of what you'll see out in the woods,
Yeah.
like if you're in a stand, you're never just gonna have a perfect, I mean, unless you're hunting a food plot, it's like a lot of times you're having to see like, hey, I've got this window, I've got this window, and you have to not let it get to you mentally, like, oh, there's a branch right there, don't be focusing on that, or this or that, we've talked about that in the past, taking the shots. So I like to practice that way, especially if I'm gonna go pay money to do it and such. But
Sure.
other than that, I don't know. Gonna start shooting, lifting a little bit more. Might do a couple more races. We'll see. Nothing of that magnitude. Just takes way too much time for training, like I
How
talked
you
about in the
feeling
last
after
podcast.
that?
Feeling good. I think I've recovered, but I guess mentally, it's like you had that goal for so long, and like reached it, and like now I'm no longer striving towards a goal like that. You know what I mean? So like you kind of have to come back to earth and redirect and figure out, what's next in a sense. Like obviously you have your duties, husband, father and such, but it's they call it like the post race blues, and like I don't really have that, but I do want to do another race, but I have to be careful to like what time am I going to sign up for one, to make sure I have time, because there's things that I put off and there's other things I need to be doing. I can't be training all the time. So like there's shorter races and such, and I want to stay in shape because I built up a pretty good engine. I want to try to maintain it. So we'll see. I'm just trying to take some time and make good decisions.
Yeah, it's amazing, like, I listened to that you talk about the race and everything, and I know how much work you put in for that, the accomplishment of that race. I have a hard time even fathom that. It's nothing I've ever done anywhere near that. But, like, I always think of the time consumption because just work and, like, having a hard time wanting to just do. I mean, it's like come home, eat dinner. I mean, that's been most of my life, just the driving and stuff that we do. I've never been somewhere where I worked 8 hours or, hardly even 10. Seems like it's always by the time you threw a drive in, I'm gone 12, 14 hours a day. And just kind of the oil field industrial life a little bit. But, I got some buddies that work that and then, running 10 miles every few days and stuff. And I'm just like, I just don't even know how you get that time frame.
Yeah, you got to prioritize. I don't know. You just have to say no to things.
Yeah.
You got to say no to the extracurricular. I don't know. Yeah, it was
It's a lot of
sad.
dedication for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was eating just so late. Every evening was consumed, because yeah, like you say, I'm on the road a lot too and getting back, and you never have a short day, it seems like, and I have to get up so early. Mornings were kind of off the table, especially, there's not even a pool open that early, and got to run in the dark and it's cold, and it's the warmer part of the day is kind of that, you know, well, it starts going the other way, but
Did
did a
you
lot of
run a
indoor training and such.
I was gonna ask that if you ran did you run and bike mostly indoors, or did you try to do quite a bit of it outside?
I tried to do as much outside as I could. If it was warm enough, especially running, because you get pretty warm running. On the bike, you get cold because the wind's hitting you. But I had like an indoor trainer, and then obviously there's like a YMCA I go to. There's an indoor track too. So I hate treadmills. I did a couple treadmill workouts, but I would rather run outside if it's somewhat warm enough, or at least on the indoor track.
Do you have a temperature where you say no to running outside?
Man, like 20, 25 area, depending on like
D
the wind.
Does it affect your breathing,
Anything,
or is it just getting cold?
kind of both. You can bundle up. Like, yeah, it's tough on your lungs. Seemed like 25 was about the coldest run I was doing. Maybe 20. I know there was one night I talked about it in the last podcast. I was dodging ice and out there for a long time. But that's what you think back of, on the race. And then for bike, man, anything below 50, it seems like was just cold. Like your feet will get cold because like those race, like the bike shoes they're very thin. They're made to keep your feet from getting too hot. So your feet will get cold, even just, your ears, because yeah, you're working the whole time, but you're also just like when you roll down the window in the car, you're averaging around 15 to 20 miles an hour of wind hitting you, so you think about the wind chill factor. But yeah, it was. I don't recommend training for a warmer race during those colder months, but also you don't feel as guilty because there's not as much to do in those months. Like, what else are you going to do, really? Like, summer is like when you're doing all the house projects, it seems like, mowing grass, weed eating, it's lighter later, doing things on the weekends, this and that, cookouts, all the above. So it all worked out.
What are you thinking? Like, what kind of races are you thinking that you might try to get in?
I think it's point 3. So basically, they call it Ironman 70.3. It's half of what I just did. It's what I did the year prior. And you can train for that kind of just like maybe it's a little more time, but most people, let's just say if they like going to the gym, they'll go for an hour after work, before work every day. You can kind of get away with doing that and then like 3 hours on a Saturday, kind of putting what would that be? That would be close to 12 hours a weekend. Still a little bit more, but usually it's towards the end, like right before the race, your peak time. So I might do that, or I might just do a couple sprints. Because triathlon, Ironman is a triathlon. It's just Ironman has that status of being so long and this and that, but you can do a sprint, they're really fun and they're competitive. And it's like, you know, you're instead of trying to go the distance, like it says the name, it's a sprint. Like you're at max heart rate the whole time. You're trying to swim, bike, and run as fast as you can. So that's a lot of fun too.
I seen a reel of a guy. Like I've heard a lot of stories, and I know a few people that have went, but so I don't know if it. I think it opens on May 1st. I think it just occurred, but over there in near Jackson, Wyoming, non-residents and everybody, you can't go into that area around the park where all those elk come down to in Jackson Hole. You can't horn hunt in Jackson Hole Park, and you can't hunt around there, I think, until May 1st it opens up. But this video was of a guy just going in on backpack. And I mean, these guys are running. Like when they set time, like it starts at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever time, or I think it used to start at midnight of all things on like May 1st. It started at midnight. And I think they've moved that back. But they showed video that horses take off in full sprints and these guys are running everything. It's like a extreme sport. This guy was carrying deadhead and must have had 10 plus 6-point bull horns on his backpack to the point where he broke his main strap. Okay. And
Gosh,
he had to use a ratchet strap to fix his backpack. And he showed, watch or something he was wearing. I want to say it said like 17.2 miles that he put on that day. And I can't imagine how much weight he was carrying with the horns. Had to have been over 100 pounds. I mean, that was just one dude's video from that deal. Like it's a pretty crazy event. I know my son-in-law said he went over there and he said it was just crazy. He said everybody was completely running up the hill. I mean, had guys that probably do what you just went and done that could handle that run, but they're full out sprinting up the mountain, and the
wow,
horses, I couldn't believe the video of the horses because they were a full out sprint on the horses heading uphill. I was like, dude, that's not for me
they're
at all.
nuts,
But
man.
everybody was picking up giant deadheads. I saw a guy had a sheep deadhead. And, I mean, just all kinds of
Really, that
crazy
would be
stuff.
neat, dude. That would be real neat.
The
I
thing I
would like
noticed
to
was all the deadheads that they found. I was like, well, there's your wolves and grizzly. And one of the reasons the
exactly.
numbers are down, because I mean,
Yeah,
just that one dude's video had a sheep that had been eaten. I mean, and maybe they died and then got eaten. Who knows? But I would put money on sheep or wolves or mountain lion or grizzlies, now. But I think on that one video, I seen 3 different big 6-point deadheads, a sheep deadhead on it. So it was a lot.
and this the terrain too, man. Like people don't
Oh yeah,
realize.
that's
Like the
big
Ironman I
terrain there.
did, it was mostly flat, but I've looked into some of these trail runs, and I've done a couple in the past when it was long, and gosh, the miles really rack on harder when you're dealing with elevation. I know like Spartans aren't like I did those kind of earlier on, but dude, I did one. It was like in a big cow pasture, and it was a 10K. But, you have obstacles. You don't believe how sore your ankles get because constantly, like when you're landing, those little tiny muscles are dealing with not a flat land. And just, that one I did at half marathon, just going up and down, like all the muscles in your legs, dude, just gosh, the elevation and all the above is just taxing. Your body can do a lot, but it has to train for that specific event in a sense.
For sure. I'm always amazed, like, there's a spot in Casper where you can go hike a pretty good elevation trail. They're right beside town that a lot of people hit, and I don't know how many times I've been out there that dudes just come running by you as you're
Yeah.
hiking up the mountain, and it's like and
That's
you,
that way in
like,
Utah too.
have a guy have a guy make that whole circle that you're hiking, okay, for exercise, and the guy comes running back around, and I mean, I'm not some young pup. I mean, I'm talking somebody that's older than me, making and circles you, and he's just running and talking to you. Like, it just, that stuff amazes me what people are actually capable of, like what you just did. I mean, the other night I had a buddy call and was talking to me, and we're laughing because he is on the phone having conversations with us while he's on, a 10-mile run through some low terrain mountains in
Yeah.
Wyoming. And it's like, how could you talk?
Yeah.
Zach mentioned the fact that you were mentioned that on the podcast about, I was just talking to people as I was running down in the event.
Yeah. If you stay in zone 2 or,
Yeah,
you can kinda I'm not a big it's tough for me to talk when I'm in an event like that. I did a little bit to some guys, but it's also, like I said, just because like, you do an Ironman event doesn't mean you would just go out in the mountains and crush it either with packing. Like, that's a different endurance in a sense, your shoulders for, like, holding, if you're carrying meat out or this or that, obviously, you have the grit and, your how far you can push your body, that is nice, but you gotta train for each thing, obviously, I'll kinda switch up my training before we go out west just to, get your shoulders, your hips, your legs kinda used to having some weight and more of that hiking and ensure your feet are conditioned for boots, not running shoes. So, keep that in mind too, just because you run a half marathon or a marathon this summer, don't think that you're just gonna be invincible. You still gotta train for the specific thing you're gonna put your body through. It's really gonna help you.
for sure. Because that is definitely a thing. You can be a real fit person, and if you haven't practiced for the mountain, it can still kick your butt, even though you're way better shape than. I mean, I've had guys come out that are way better shape than me, and watch them still struggle because they haven't done any elevation or anything. Not just particular me, because I'm nothing for being in fit, but you hear those stories, and I've personally seen it some. So
Yeah, you get used to that the air being thinner too, man. It's an
carrying a
advantage you
backpack,
living out
I
there.
mean, that's one of the hardest ones. Like you said, the shoulders, just not that you can't handle weight, but it's just a backpack being on your back every day for 10, 14 days can definitely affect you.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, riding a mule even, your the old bum gets
Yeah, for
sore. You
sure.
gotta condition for each thing. But yeah, I don't know. It was a crazy journey. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity to do it again. But yeah, I'll probably try to do a shorter race before it's all said and done this year, just because I've built that up early on. Had the flexibility to do some of the things I had to put off, but I enjoy them. I enjoy those races. It's a lot of fun.
No, that's awesome. Pretty definitely something to be proud of.
No, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I had a lot of good people, a lot of support. Hopefully, man, you can get out and do some hunting or at least some food plotting and get out of that the work struggle. Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the weather's finally starting to turn. I mean, it's been up and down, but like, I flew home for a day and it's been warm there. I get there and it snows for both evening, both nights there's snowfall that happens and the ground's a little bit covered when I wake up in the morning. But I
Yeah.
have noticed I've had some whitetail on, I mean, there's whitetail around me, but not a lot. And they come through our piece of property in the in the dark. I don't hardly ever see, but once or twice a year, and I noticed that I've started having some deer actually on me, for the first time, so that's kinda interesting.
Pretty
They
cool.
must be,
Yeah.
doing well there. Yeah, you shoot one down there, everybody knows about it, so some of people don't like it as well. My wife may be included in that.
Really?
It's pretty open there, man. You see all the deer, so that's like, oh, somebody, you know, one of the neighbors shot a deer that they probably have by name, you know?
Kinda like the neighborhood deer.
Yeah,
Well,
but no,
right
I
on.
expect to get out and do a little paddle fishing, so hopefully maybe me or Zach can, uh, do well there.
Well, hopefully next podcast I'll have a couple more turkeys on the ground, some stories there. Maybe you'll get you a paddle fish. But yeah, my with turkey hunting, man, it's a slower year, I think. But I got one, so we'll see where it goes from there.
Right on, man.
Well, I can't think of anything else, man. It's good kind of catching up. Nothing too crazy. Be good. Get some turkey hunting, finish out here, then start prepping for out west.
Yeah, we definitely need to be doing something, so we got something to talk about. It's been a slow winter.
I know, man. It has. It has. Got some people I want to reach out to. So stay tuned and we'll see everybody next week. Appreciate you guys.